kaso po pagdating kay former Vice President Leni, ang sabi niyo po ay ito po ang opisyal na posisyon ng gobyerno. Yung tungkol sa links ni ni VP Leni sa CPP-NPA, tama po?
Yes, Mr.
Paano tayo sasagot? Wala pong tanong. So, yun po eh. And it's very clear po, the cooperative only has very few shares, less than 1%. The shares have been fully,
0.19%.
it's fully paid up. Wala naman application for additional shares to be issued. Meron po ba?
Wala.
Wala naman. Yes or no?
No.
So, yun po. So, kasi kung merong pending application, baka ba merong intent. Pero dahil wala, malamang wala. So, hindi masyadong compelling po para maniwala po kami na merong sufficient intent to comply with this gap pagdating po sa Section 11. So I will leave it at that. But I just have one last question, Mr. Chair, if with your kind indulgence. And this is for Dr. Badoy. It's a very short question. I was intrigued earlier when you mentioned that pagdating po dun sa tanong po ni kay Vice Chair Pimentel, nung nabanggit po niya yung kaso po pagdating kay former Vice President Leni, ang sabi niyo po ay ito po ang opisyal na posisyon ng gobyerno. Yung tungkol sa links ni ni VP Leni sa CPP-NPA, tama po?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Maaari po bang malaman kung nagkaroon po ba ng action ang gobyerno patungkol dito? Kasi kung siya po ay, kasi mabigat po, no? If it's an official position and it's mabigat po, di ba? Mabigat na paratang po yun. Ano po naging aksyon ng gobyerno? Were there cases filed? Nagkaroon po ba ng impeachment case? Nagkaroon po ba ng culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of trust? Ano po ang ginawang aksyon ng national government dito po sa opisyal na findings with respect to the links of the Vice President?
Mr. Ring.
Of the former Vice President?
Mr. Chair, could I clarify first kung ano yung sinabi namin, yung statement namin? Ang towards the election yon, Mr. Chair. So, hindi namin sinabi na miyembro ang former Vice President ng CPP, NPA, NDF dahil sa mga former rebels na nagsiwalat sa amin ito, ang statement namin ay yung
na isa-submit ninyo na documentary evidence dito po sa committee. So basically, ang sinasabi ninyo is it's based on the endorsement by these groups on the run-up to the elections, parang ganon. So at ito ang nilalaman ng mga documents na isa-submit niyo dito sa committee, parang ganon.
Mr. Chair, yes. At yung mga miyembro ng cluster ng situational awareness and knowledgement cluster, kasama dyan ang NICA, ang AFP, ang PNP, ang NSC. So it's highly intelligence driven, Mr. Chair.
Pero yun pa man, kahit na medyo mabigat ang naging findings ninyo, walang naging aksyon pagdating sa pagsampa ng cases. Kasi yun ang tanong ko earlier.
Yes.
Nagkaroon ba ng pagsampa ng cases? Criminal case on sedition,
Yes,
halimbawa.
yes.
Wala pong naging ganun.
Wala po, Mr. Chair, but may I please elaborate a little bit kasi very complicated yung structural organization ng CPP, NPA, NDF na kung saan may mga above grounds at saka below ground, no? So underground, I'm sorry. So habang hinihintay natin yung proscription, yung pag-declare sa kanila na terrorist organization sila, tuloy-tuloy silang nakakatago sa mga maskara nila, no? Like Anak Bayan, LFS, Kabataan, Bayan Muna, Gabriela, Alliance of Concerned Teachers. So hindi po pwedeng mag-file ng cases na ganun-ganun lang sa Vice President. So sa amin po, ang gusto namin kasi matigil na yung recruitment kasi napakaraming mga bata na namatay. Just recently ulit, meron sa UP Los Baños, etc. So yun yung priority na yung mga anak natin ay wag nang ma-recruit at mamatay bilang NPA. So yun yung prioritize, Mr. Chair.
So
Okay.
last na lang po.
The Honorable Kimbo.
Last na lang po. So itong isasubmit ninyo na documentary evidence dito sa amin, sa tingin ninyo ay hindi makakatayo as evidence sa court? Parang ganun po.
I'm not a lawyer, Mr. Chair, so I really wouldn't know. But these are judicial, some of them are judicial affidavits, Mr. Chair, from former rebels.
We will just await the submissions, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
Mr. Chair,
And that will be
yes.
all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
Chair.
the Honorable Stella Kimbo of the Second District of Marikina City. Now we will call on the Honorable Romy Ako of Antipolo City.
Yeah, I would just like to follow up before I go to Attorney Suplico, who must earn his keep today, being the legal counsel of Suarasog. Madam Badoy, in September 23, 2022, you accused Manila RTC Judge Malagar of lawyering for the CPP NPA and tagged the said judge as a friend and true ally of the communist groups. Would that be correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's correct.
And because of that, you were cited in contempt by the Supreme Court of the Republic of the Philippines.
That's not correct, Mr. Chair.
Ano po ang tama?
Ang tama po, Mr. Chair, ay yung mga prente ng CPP, NPA, NDF, katulad ng NUPL, ay gumawa ng paraan para umabot sa Supreme Court. Yung isinulat ko na opinion ko na si Judge Malagar who penned na hindi daw teroristang organisasyon ang CPP, NPA, NDF. So, andun pa po siya, Mr. Chair, na it's still being heard, Mr. Chair.
Yes, madam. Would you agree with me if I say na just because of your passion against the CPP, NPA, sumusobra na po kayo sa action ninyo, red tagging even members of Congress, even the mayor of Baguio City?
Mr.
Please proceed.
Mr.
You
Chair,
have the floor.
yeah, Mr. Chair, yung red tagging po, hindi po totoo yan. Ang mga korte na natin mismo ang nagsabi na there is no danger to life, liberty, and security when you're identified as a member of the CPP, NPA, NDF. And in fact, what has endangered our children and our indigenous peoples, and when we're not able to identify the CPP behind all those masks, Mr. Chair.
Kailan ka ba nagkaroon ng passion against the CPP, NPA?
Mr. Chair, nung ako po ay naging naging head po ako ng Strategic Communications Cluster ng NTF-ELCAC. Galing po akong UP Diliman at isa po akong medyo radicalized at marami akong pinaniwalaan na mali, at nung nakita ko, bumababa ako on the ground and I met the victims, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
when was that? When was that?
That was 2008, December 2018, Mr. Chair.
2018.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I understand your point of view, pero sasabihin ko sa iyo, ako, since 1970, kalaban ko na nga sila eh. Hanggang ako'y mag-retire, nandiyan pa rin sila. So, do you think yung ginagawa po ninyo na ganito is in accordance with our laws, rules, and regulations?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for that wonderful question again. When I stepped out of office, Mr. Chair, there was an independent study by the DND about which ano yung factor bakit napaka-successful ng NTF-ELCAC, at yung nangyari dito yung finding independent study siya ay yung Strategic Communications Cluster, na ibig sabihin napakahalaga ng information sa ating mga kababayan. Kasi po, sir, ang nangyari doon.
With your indulgence, madam, ang tanong ko lang po is whether you think sa sarili mo ay in accordance with laws, rules, and regulations yung ginagawa po ninyo. Yun lang po ang katanungan ko. Pakisagot lang po yun.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ang sagot ko po, oo.
Yes. Even when you are no longer connected with NTF-ELCAC.
Yes, Mr. Chair, because this is a whole of nation approach.
If I ask you to explain the whole of nation approach in all its branches, baka hindi mo masagot. Kaya huwag kang mag-mention ng mga terminologies na 2018 mo lang narinig. Samantalang kami, tinyente pa lang kami, naririnig na namin yan. Okay? Now,
Pwedeng mag-comment, Mr. Chair. Pwedeng mag-comment.
No,
Okay.
I don't think he's asking
Okay,
you to
okay, Mr.
reply
Chair.
to that.
But
Yes.
Unless,
should I
should I
respond?
what?
Should I
Sandali na
respond?
po.
Just
Sandali na
to,
po. Ano po mga ano? Kaya nyo ba paliwanag yung kakasabi nyo lang? Kasi kaya nyo paliwanag yun?
Kasi po, Mr. Chair,
Opo.
yun nga yung isa sa driving forces sa akin, Mr. Chair, na napakaraming PNP at saka AFP ang namatay dahil sa CPP, NPA, NDF. So tama po si Congressman Acop. Napakatagal na po nito.
Salamat. The Honorable Ako.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll not belabor the point. I will go now to Attorney Rolex Soplico.
Yes, sir.
Attorney Rolex, in your answers to the queries of the Honorable Nograles, napansin ko, dadalawa lang yung depensa na ginagamit mo eh. Number one, yung letter na sinasabi po nyo dated June 30, 2022. Tama?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Was this a separate letter for you to ask, according to you, to ask question from the committee? Or this was part of your annual report?
Well, I think it's a separate letter, Your Honor.
No. May I ask COMSEC if this was a separate letter or part of the report submitted by Suarasug?
The Honorable, Attorney Marvick.
Your Honors, the letter referred to by Attorney Suplico and SMNI is part of the documents submitted to the committee as their annual report for 2020.
So per record, Attorney Suplico, this is not a separate letter for you to ask guidance. It was part of your annual report.
Well,
Would you agree now?
Well, I accept
Yeah.
my error, Your Honor.
Number two, I have read your letter. I have it in my hand. Nowhere did you ask any question from the committee. Nowhere. I cannot see you asking a question to the committee. Now, may I know, can you point out to me any part of your letter which you have mentioned? Did you ask any question or any guidance from this committee regarding your franchise?
Actually, Your Honor, there was another letter sent to the SEC. However, it was shown
No,
to
no,
me.
no, no. We're
No.
talking
On
about
that
your
particular letter.
communications with this committee. That is the purview of my queries this afternoon, Attorney.
Okay, I take responsibility, Your Honor, if ever.
So in
The
other
request
words,
is that
you are
is not-
admitting that there is no question here.
Well, Your Honor,
If you want, you can read it.
well, it was explained to me that there was a request and we should wait for the response.
And may I
No,
know,
no, no.
may I know who told you that?
Well, members of our staff in the.
Niloko ka
You
ng
want,
staff mo.
you want, we can give him a copy of the letter, then you can read it yourself. I mean, you're the one who
Well, I
furnishes the copy.
I'm sorry. I take the word the gentleman who is my upperclassman
That,
as true, Your
that there
Honor.
was no question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's an honorable person and I respect him for that.
Thank you, Attorney. So in other words, wala po kayong guidance na hiniling sa committee. That is your first defense. Kanina pa doon sa mga tanong ni the Honorable Migs Nograles. So I'm just debunking your defense, Attorney. The second defense is that it is also contained in your letter. Binasa ko that you were telling this the committee in your report that like other franchises, dapat mabigyan din kayo ng privilege na yon. Am I correct?
That is correct, Your Honor, because in the franchises of others, there is that particular stipulation on the resort to cooperatives, which a phrase is not found in the franchise of SMNI.
Are you trying to tell this committee na when this Congress would approve the grant of franchises, pare-parehas ang wording? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, iba-iba. Different franchise,
Bill
different,
drafting,
di ba? Dito sa sulat mo, sinabi mo, Republic Act number 10637, an act granting Cotabato Light and Power Company. It's a different franchise with Suarasog. So why would you compare a pig to a cow? When in fact, Congress takes cognizance of each and every individual application for the grant of franchise.
I thought that the provision on this.
You thought?
Yes, Your Honor.
You
I
thought
think
it
that the.
ano?
You,
You thought?
Mr. Chairman, the provision on the dispersal of ownership applies to all public utilities, which are franchise grantees.
That
They
is your
could be-
assumption.
They could be worded in a different manner. And bill drafting with respect to franchises have evolved so far. And the phrase resort to cooperatives appear in some of the franchises granted by this committee.
I agree. But will you accept that every franchise application is different from other applications for franchise?
I accept, Your Honor.
Yes. And therefore, you cannot compare a cow with a pig or a carabao with a bird. Tama?
I beg to differ, Your Honor,
Uh,
because of the policy on the dispersal of ownership.
Look, are you trying to tell me that the provision on the dispersal of ownership in your franchise is exactly the same as Republic Act number 10637, 10753?
No, Your Honor. Ours is a broadcast franchise. The others are TU franchises,
Therefore,
distribution utility franchises.
therefore, your argument here is not accepted. Why? Because you are claiming na dapat meron din kayong establishment of cooperatives phrase sa inyong franchise, which Congress did not intend to do so. Otherwise, it would have placed that phrase there if that is the intent of Congress. Tama?
Well, Your Honor, I will
Hindi,
espouse.
tinatanong kita, tama ba?
No, Your Honor, I will
You've
espouse a
been-
different view,
you've
but
been-
I respect the gentleman's spirit.
You have been a part of this Congress.
For 9 years, Your Honor.
Yes. At alam mo naman na kung gumagawa tayo ng batas, the legislative intent is paramount.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And therefore, if it is not placed there by the Congress, it is not the intent of Congress for you to avail of that provision or phrase. Tama?
But we thought, Your Honor, that
Tama?
this committee could elucidate on the
Tama.
requirement of cooperatives.
Tama? Hindi mo
I think-
sinasagot yung tanong ko.
Well, on the, maybe, Your Honor, on the statutory construction principle of verba leges, yes, Your Honor, you may be right.
Yes. Kasi, iba-iba ang trato ng Kongreso sa bawat individual application ng franchise. And I think you know that. You're just arguing like the defense counsel that I expected to. Di ba?
I have no other choice, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Your
Honorable Ako. Thank you very much. Before we continue, the chair would like to recognize the Honorable Benvenido Abante Jr. of the 6th District of Manila. Welcome, sir. Another media practitioner. Hindi lang po congressman yan, media practitioner, pastor pa, kaya lahat. Kayang-kaya niya. Okay? Yan po ang bishop namin dito sa
Hindi
Congress.
pa rin nagbabago.
Okay, so the chair now recognizes the Honorable Dan Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat sa mga resource speakers natin who have been here. May lindol man at wala, kasama po namin kayo. Maraming po salamat. At siguro, I just wanted to augment yung mga position that was mentioned a while ago by Congresswoman Migs Nograles saka kay Congresswoman Stella Kimbo and briefly by Congressman Ako. But make no mistake, the reason why we are tackling itong ating pong mga franchise, hindi lang naman po kayo, but we are also reviewing the franchise of Meralco and GCP and different public utilities. Ito po yung aming pong trabaho. So much so that you are also depending yung sa SMNI. Anyway, dun po sa kanina tinanong nila Migs Kimbo, I just wanted to take the position about dun sa beneficial owner. Kasi kanina when you were asked, hindi ata na itanong manifestation lamang ni Stella, ni Congresswoman Stella yung about sa beneficial owner. Kasi dun sa GIS nyo, actually we have a lot of documents pertaining to the requirements of section 12, sa repertorial requirement, which yun din po mga nire-require namin sa lahat ng prangkisa. Dito po sa section 10, with regards dito po sa GIS nyo na submitted to us, nakalagay po yung beneficial owner ay si Apollo Kibuloy noong 2019 and 2020. And eventually, pagdating po noong 2021, ito pong beneficial owner na transfer po dito sa company, na mga opisyalis ng company na kanina minention po ni Congresswoman Stella. So, basically tatanong ko rin po kasi hindi na itanong, hindi po tayo nakakuha dito ng tinatawag po nating prior approval sa Kongreso. Wala po tayong nakuhang prior approval.
If I may, Mr. Chairman. Okay, Mr. Chairman, no, we did not secure prior approval
Yes.
for the following reasons. First, this is a corporation sole. And a
Mhm.
corporation sole is a religious entity And we need to change the head of the corporation soul every time there's a new head.
Correct.
Okay.
Oo.
So this corporation soul is different from its name entity.
Mm-mm.
It's like
Tama po.
saying the stockholder is different from its the corporation as a personality, separate and distinct from the stockholders.
Yeah, but
Okay. Now,
after po nung 2020, when you submitted the list of the names of under the your corporation, iba-iba na po itong mga pangalan na nakalagay dito. So, hindi pa rin po tayo kumuha ng prior approval at report that was in relation to Section 10.